Please, stop expecting Kent to show up at family gatherings. Today is my younger brother's wedding, and his fiancée, Grace, just cornered me in front of everyone. Her voice carried so loudly it cut across the room, slicing through me like a blade. Only minutes ago, the celebration was filled with joy and laughter. Yet now I stood frozen, swallowed by humiliation as her words echoed in the silence. I wanted to be happy for Kent, but instead I stood there, stripped bare in front of our relatives. Her attack struck deep, leaving an ache that spread through my chest, numbing every part of me. The once cheerful energy drained from the hall, replaced with a heavy stillness. I could feel the guests' eyes boring into me, their quiet stares pressing down, silently agreeing with Grace's judgment, that I didn't belong. "You shouldn't be here. You don't really fit in," she snapped. Her eyes burned with disdain, the kind of look that made it clear she saw me as nothing more than dead weight, an intrusion at her wedding and in their lives. I wanted to defend myself, to say something, anything, but my throat locked up, my emotions tangled into a storm of anger, grief, and disbelief that left my chest tight and my legs unsteady. The worst part was a seed of doubt her words planted. Had I really leaned too heavily on Kent all these years? Without meaning to, had I been a burden not just to him, but to her too? Perhaps I had gotten in the way of their relationship. Still, even if that were true, did she have to slash me open in front of everyone? Grace wasn't trying to help. She wanted to wound. I understand. I managed at last, though my voice sounded foreign, thin and broken, like it belonged to someone else. It was all I could muster. I rose slowly, forcing my trembling body to stay upright. I wanted desperately to witness my brother's vows, but I couldn't. Not after this. The thought of staining his special day with my presence was unbearable. So I turned toward the exit, holding back the storm raging inside me. Each step toward the door felt like walking out my own life. My hand touched the handle when a sudden crash shattered the silence. A chair had toppled behind me. My name is Sarah. I'm 32 years old, and moments like this make me wonder how different everything would have been if that accident had never happened. Kent and I lost our parents when I was 11, and he was only 8. They were driving back from a weekend trip when tragedy struck. By the time we reached the hospital, it was already too late. They were gone. The world seemed to stop that day. Everything was muted, dreamlike, except for memory of Kent's small, trembling hand gripping mine. Afterward, we were placed in a children's home. The staff were kind, and we grew close to other kids there. But no matter how safe or warm it felt, nothing filled the hollow ache left inside me. I made a promise to myself. Kent would smile no matter what. I decided I wouldn't cry in front of him. If he saw my tears, his own sadness would deepen. Being his big sister gave me purpose. I buried my grief and poured my strength into protecting him. When I turned 18, the home could no longer keep me. There were programs available to help kids like us attend college, but I turned them down. Kent deserved that chance more than I did. I chose to work instead, days spent earning a paycheck, nights attending vocational classes, in event planning. I had a small dream tucked away, to start my own business someday, but it always felt distant. Kent was my priority. I even borrowed money so that he wouldn't have to struggle financially. He could have earned scholarships, I knew, but I wanted to clear every obstacle from his path. While I carried the weight of bills and long shifts, Kent dedicated himself to his studies. Watching his determination lit a fire in me to keep going, no matter how exhausting it became. And he didn't let me down. He graduated, secured a position at a prestigious company, and when I heard the news, I broke down in tears. Every sleepless night, every sacrifice, every debt suddenly carried meaning. Not long after, Kent began sending me $1,500 each month. I wanted to refuse, to tell him to keep it for his own needs, but then his message arrived. "Sis, you did everything for me. Not giving back would feel wrong. Please accept this." Those words undid me. I cried harder than I had in years, not from sadness, but from the relief of knowing he saw me, that he understood. Still, I couldn't let myself depend on him forever. Quietly, I tucked the money away, saving it in case the day ever came when he needed my help. With the skills I had gained from night school, I launched a small event planning business. At first, I worked alone, scraping by, but slowly it grew. Clients began calling, projects multiplied, and I stayed busier than ever. Ken even pitched in on weekends, despite his demanding career. Then one evening, Kent told me he was seeing someone, Grace. She worked at a partner company of his, and the excitement in his voice was undeniable. He glowed with happiness, and that alone made me glad for him. A year later, we were walking home from dinner when Kent told me he planned to propose. The words landed heavy in my chest, like a weight pressing down. When I didn't know how to name, I wanted nothing more than for Kent to be happy. Yet beneath my smile lingered a strange ache. Was it loneliness clawing at me, or the quiet dread of losing him? Outwardly, I congratulated him warmly, but inside my heart twisted with conflicting emotions. Grace appeared kind enough. She made Kent light up, and when we first met, she was pleasant and polite. Still, there was something about her smile, too perfect, too distant, that left me unsettled. That feeling grew stronger the evening we attended a pre-wedding dinner with her family. We gathered at an upscale Japanese restaurant, the kind where every detail glimmered with refinement. Grace's parents carried themselves with grace and confidence, but underneath their courtesy lingered an air of quiet dismissal. Kent, it's remarkable how far you've come, considering you were raised in children's home. Truly admirable, her mother said, her voice honeyed but her eyes sharp. The words seemed harmless on the surface, but to me they burned. Her tone carried a quiet superiority that made me want to shrink away. Kent smiled politely. I wouldn't have made it here without my sister, he said, though I noticed a tightness in his jaw. Normally he spoke proudly of our past, but that night his voice was strained, as if he were suppressing his true feelings. I wanted to defend him, to defend us, but I stayed silent. This was his night, not mine. After dinner, he brushed it off and told me not to worry, but I could see the heaviness in his eyes. His reassurance only deepened my hurt, because I knew he was hurting too. Still, he kept pushing forward, determined to make things work with Grace. As the wedding preparations continued, I tried harder to bond with Grace. We spent afternoons looking at dresses, discussing menus, even reviewing the guest list. She was always courteous, but there was a coolness about her, as if an invisible wall separated us. Then one day, she asked a question that hit me like a blow. Does Ken still send you money every month? Honestly, I think that a bit much. Once we're married, our finances need to come first. Her words left me speechless. A part of me knew she wasn't entirely wrong. After all, Ken had his own future to build, but she didn't understand. That money wasn't simply support. It was his way of honoring everything we'd endured together. It was gratitude made tangible. Even so, I realized maybe it was time. Maybe I needed to step back and let Kent focus on the family he was building. That night, I spoke to him. Grace doesn't seem too comfortable about the money. Does she? I asked softly. Kent sighed, already expecting this conversation. I figured she'd bring it up. Maybe it's time to stop. I forced myself to smile, though my chest ached. You have a family now. That should be your priority. But Kent shook his head firmly. No, Sarah, I'm not stopping. You sacrificed everything for me. Sending that money is the least I can do. His words blurred my vision with tears, though I quickly looked away so he wouldn't see. All right, Kent, I understand. I whispered. Deep down, I knew pressing him would only make him more determined. For now, I let him choose for himself. When the wedding day finally arrived, I poured my heart into supporting him. All I wanted was his joy, and seeing his radiant smile during the ceremony washed me with relief. For the first time in a long while, I felt peace. My sacrifices had not been in vain. But at the reception, everything shifted. Grace turned to me, her words as sharp as glass. Please stop coming to visit, Kent. The chatter around us died instantly. My heart dropped. My face drained the color. Her cold stare made it clear she wanted me out of his life. I stood frozen, unable to answer. My throat tightened as humiliation, grief, and anger tangled inside me. Finally, I whispered the only words I could manage. I understand. The voice didn't sound like mine. It was faint, hollow, I turned toward the door, desperate to leave without creating a scene. But just as my hand reached the handle, a loud crash cut through the silence. I spun around. Kent was standing, his chair toppled behind him, fury burning in his eyes. "Grace, do you even realize what you just said?" His voice was low but shook with rage. Grace faltered, caught off guard. "You have no idea what my sister has done for me," he continued, every word trembling with intensity. "Without her, I wouldn't be here. She gave up everything so I could have this life. Every dream I've achieved is because of her." The room was silent. No one dared interrupt. "I send her money because it's not charity, it's respect. It's gratitude. It's the bare minimum compared to what she's given me." Grace froze, her face pale, fear flickering in her eyes. The silence broke as voices rose from around the room. "I've known Sarah all my life. She always put everyone else first," someone said. Others chimed in, affirming my sacrifices, recounting how I had carried Kent through the darkest times. Soon the air buzzed with murmurs of support, and Grace's expression drained a color as the tide turned against her. Then, from Kent's colleagues came another blow. "Honestly, Grace can be difficult at work. She's known for her harsh words," one said. "It's true," another added. "She pushes people down more than she lifts them up." One after another, voices revealed truths about Grace I had never known. Each admission chipped away at her carefully crafted image until she stood exposed, her reputation slipping through her fingers. Just then, the doors opened and a man entered, immaculately dressed, his presence commanding respect. "My apologies for arriving late," he said. Heads turned. "Mr. Jameson, welcome," someone greeted. Mr. Jameson, a senior executive from a major business partner of Grace's family, had just arrived. His calm authority shifted the atmosphere instantly. "Is something wrong here?" he asked, scanning the room. Grace's father rushed to smooth things over. "Oh, no, just a minor family misunderstanding." But Mr. Jameson's gaze landed on me. "You must be Sarah. I've heard about your event planning company. Quite impressive." I blinked in surprise. "Thank you, Mr. Jameson," I replied quietly. Grace's father interjected quickly. "Sarah grew up in a foster home. Perhaps we should consider that carefully before discussing partnerships." Mr. Jameson's expression remained firm. "I grew up in foster care myself." A stunned silence fell. Grace's father paled. "I have immense respect for those who rise above hardship. From what I've seen, Sarah's work demonstrates resilience and excellence. At our company, partnerships are based on merit, not background. To exclude someone because of their past would go against everything we value," he said decisively. His words wrapped around me like a shield. For the first time that day, I felt proud instead of ashamed. Kent's voice broke through. "Sarah has always been the foundation of this family." Grace's words were unacceptable. "And if she can't respect my family, then she isn't the person I thought I could marry." Gasps rippled through the room. Grace's face crumpled, but she had no defense left. Kent crossed the floor and pulled me into a fierce embrace. "Thank you, Sarah, for everything." Tears welled in my eyes. "And thank you, Kent. I'll always stand by you." That day marked the beginning of a new chapter. With Mr. Jameson's mentorship, my business flourished, earning recognition for creativity and dedication. Kent later joined me as a full partner, and together we expanded into new opportunities. "We've come such a long way, Sarah," Kent said one afternoon, pride shining in his eyes. "We have," I smiled, "and I'm grateful for every step." Side by side, we built not only a thriving business, but a life filled with mutual respect, resilience, and an unshakable bond stronger than ever before.